I am so grateful your journey has led you all the way here. Welcome to LifeClub with me, Tashima Jones. Hey guys, Tashima Jones here. Super excited you are tuning in to another installment of LifeClub with me, Tashima Jones. Today we are discussing how to deal with inherited dysfunction. Oftentimes we find ourselves in our adult life fighting certain struggles and challenges that have absolutely nothing to do with our decision making, but everything to do with the environment in which we grew up in. So once again, we are discussing how to deal with inherited dysfunction. And as we always say on Life Club, when we know the definition of a thing, we are better equipped to using it properly. So inherited dysfunction is really a term that I kind of came up with. It kind of just dropped into my spirit, and I define it as toxic behavior and paradigms that we picked up in our childhood and we brought it into our adult life. And what I've realized is that inherited dysfunction hits in a few key areas in our relationships, in our finances, and in our self-image. So I want to start with how this inherited dysfunction tends to impact and influence our relationships. If you find yourself going into relationships already thinking negatively or pretty much basing your relationships on certain past experiences, you are allowing that dysfunction to really impact and influence the quality of the relationship that you can have. And what we don't recognize is that we don't all of a sudden become adults overnight. Becoming an adult starts at the moment you are born. It is truly a process, and literally the culture and the way that we do life as adults stems from how the adults in our childhood did life. So if you grew up in a household where there was toxic relationships, whether it was between your parents or the adults in your family or your family in general, as well as in your neighborhood, you may have very well picked up on some bad habits, and now you are applying that negativity into the relationships that you are looking to cultivate as an adult. Another area where we tend to see inherited dysfunction show up is in our finances. A lot of households teach financial habits indirectly. So if you notice that there may be a vibe when there is poverty, and then a totally different energy in the same household when there is a lack, in your child mind, you are starting to build on what I call your money mentality. And then once again, just like our relationships, we tend to bring those habits and that philosophy towards finances into our adulthood. And last but not least, we are going to speak about self-esteem, which I truly believe the first two areas, as well as so many other areas in our life, really take a root in, or are birthed from rather. And self-esteem and self-image is literally like this compass that maneuvers us throughout life. And it's so amazing how the way you see yourself is how you project yourself. And the way you project yourself dictates your destination. It dictates how far you go in life and truly the quality of your life. If you see value in yourself, there are certain decisions that you are going to make. You're going to make certain decisions about your finances. You're going to make certain decisions about the relationships that you keep, so forth and so on. And deeply rooted in this concept of self-image is purpose, is the vision for your life. When you think about going to a specific destination and you're on the road, you know when to make a left and when to make a right and when to go straight. But if you don't know where you're going, you have no idea how to get there. And a lot of us are walking throughout life without a true concept of identity and purpose. And once again, inherited dysfunction tends to distort self-image. And a lot of times it is taught indirectly. It's taught in how people not only treat each other, but how they treat you. And again, that can take place in the household, in school, and in your community and in your neighborhood overall. So it's so important and so vital for us to not only understand this concept of inherited dysfunction, aka toxic behaviors and mentalities towards life that we pick up on from traumatic experiences in our youth and the areas that this actually impacts. And I truly believe that it shows up in some key areas, including our relationships, our finances, and how we see ourselves. So to the good part, how do we actually deal with inherited dysfunction? I truly believe that the first step in dealing with it is awareness. It's being conscious of the reality that you are fighting a struggle and a challenge that isn't even yours. And the moment you recognize that you are fighting a fight that's not yours, you are able to extend grace and to extend forgiveness to the people in your life, including yourself. And you are also able to walk away from that fight, because if you are fighting a fight that isn't yours, you will never win. So once again, coming to a space of awareness that, hold on, this is not my battle. This is not my fight to contend in. And that truly, I believe, will alleviate so much stress and so much confusion and bring clarity. Secondly, I truly believe that once we come to the space of awareness, we are then able to move into the space of self-discovery, discovering who you are, discovering where you're from, discovering where you're going, discovering the purpose and the call on your life, that divine life path that has literally been carved out for you. Once again, if you are on the road and you know where you're going, you know when to make this left, when to make this right, when to go straight, when to stop, when to pull over and get some rest. It really opens up this roadmap for your life. But on the flip side of that, if you have no idea what your purpose is and that divine life plan that is mapped out just for you, you will truly find yourself being tossed to and fro and not really making the healthiest decisions because you have no idea where you are going. So that is so important and so vital in really dealing with, and I'd like to say eradicating inherited dysfunction. It's knowing your purpose, knowing the plan for your life, and moving forward in that direction. And last but most certainly not least, I truly believe that when you become aware of inherited dysfunction and you walk away from that fight that isn't yours and you start to unlock and discover the life path that was carved out for you, you find yourself discovering your inner greatness. You find yourself starting to discover spirit. You find yourself starting to discover this amazingly wonderful life, which is the sweet spot that each and every single one of us desire to find ourselves in. And getting there is definitely a process, but that process becomes so much easier when you become aware of fighting battles that are not yours. Inherited dysfunction is similar to any other inheritance. When somebody passes along something to somebody, oftentimes it's in the form of wealth, it's in the form of real estate, or maybe even the family business. But the same is true in the spirit world, aka this invisible realm that each and every single one of us operate and live in every single day. And I think sometimes it's harder to recognize what you've inherited because it is something that is invisible. It's not something that's totally tangible that you can either take in or refuse with your five sensory self. But when we discover that we do not become adults overnight and everything that we are applying in our adult life is stemmed from what we experience as children, we are then able to recognize and again become aware of the things that we may have pulled from the environments of our past, and in that moment we are able to lay them aside. So once again, thank you so much for tuning in to Life Club with me, Tashima Jones. I hope and believe that this is going to help you on your personal discovery of life itself. Truly, truly, truly happy that you rocked out with me. You could have been anywhere else in the world, but you were here with me, and for that I am truly grateful. Be sure to browse around on tashimajones.com for more videos, articles, how to join Life Club, and make sure you download my app, TJMTV, available on iOS and Android devices. Until next time, remember your greatness. Talk soon.